The Island of Lost Souls. Like the Island of Misfit Toys if Santa Claus practiced vivisection. This is the tongue-in-cheek version, by which I mean the silly version, not the surgically added a tongue to someone's cheek that this film might imply. You can look below this video for discussing the Island of Lost Souls if you want a serious examination of this film. We kick off with a guy in a white suit and matching pith helmet on the deck of a boat. The only thing missing is his monocle, presumably because he was swatting his butler with it. He spots someone in a tiny boat, half dead, so the poor schmuck is dragged aboard, and the Englishman has him sent to his cabin. Finders keepers. The guy eventually wakes up and rants until his savior, Montgomery, calms him down, assuring him this ship is going to take him to where he was going anyway, Apia, and he'll even send a telegram to Edward Parker's, our poor shipwrecked mess, fiancé. It's well timed because she just hears about the ship going down, so she hasn't had a chance to get the deposit back in the hull yet. On the ship, Parker discovers all these wild animals in cages, but the real problem is...
Morning, Captain. I want to thank you, Captain, for...
Who are you?
The captain, despite having a steamship, has decided they need to be 3 sheets to the wind.
Why wasn't I told about it?
We tried to wake you.
Well, why didn't you?
You had a slight list to port.
What do you mean?
You were drunk.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Well, there's Dr. Moreau's Island. Dr. Moreau's Island, and it stinks all over the whole South Sea.
And that's my job. The captain interferes with the poor servant who's bringing slop to feed the dogs, causing the guy to flinch and spill the slop on the captain, who retaliates by punching the poor guy right in the face. When Parker comments that only a drunk would stoop to that, the captain swings at him too. But Parker ducks and gives it right back to him. Of all the ships in the ocean, he had to be rescued by Shia LaBeouf. Parker checks on the unconscious manservant and discovered he has pointed ears. Clearly Dr. Moreau is working with Romulans. When he comes to, the manservant is ready to attack the unconscious captain, or like a real mad dog, actually, but gets held back and sent slinking off. Later they rendezvous with Moreau's schooner for the delivery of the animals and to drop off Montgomery and the manservant, but the captain has a change of plans.
You're getting off here.
Enjoy the broken neck. Parker, Montgomery, and Moreau yell at the captain over this, but he insists that he is only obligated to take Parker to the next port of call, even if the only way to communicate with anyone is a radio made out of coconuts. Moreau notes the problem with this. They only leave the island in this thing once a year, and of course, it's nowhere near Cinco de Mayo right now. But Moreau decides to allow Montgomery to take him out tomorrow. He's hoping that for once, Parker can get on a ship and get off it at his actual destination. It'd be kind of a novel development. When they arrive, Moreau leads Parker ashore and makes clear that he expects him to listen while he's here and to be silent about what he's seen once he's gone. Things are going to be a little strange. Obviously not that. A good whip cracking is just SOP for the good British Empire. Moreau brings Parker up to his house, locked and filled with still more caged animals, and one of the locals.
Strange-looking natives you have here. You'll be wanting a cold shower, I take it, before dinner.
No, he may be shirtless, but I haven't been to sea that long. After dinner...
Yes.
Looks like the torture has arrived just in time for brandy and cigars. Well, that seems to be the cue to head out, but Moreau says he intends to bring her to Parker.
That's understandable.
But how will she respond to Parker where there's no cause for fear? Will she be attracted? Is she capable of being attracted? Has she a woman's emotional impulses?
Will she nag him for leaving his underpants on the floor? So he goes to see Loda. He wants her to go and talk with Parker.
I'm going to leave you alone with him. And you may talk with him about anything you please, about the world he comes from. But you must say nothing about me. Nothing about the law. Nothing about the House of Pain.
He's not ready to join our sex dungeon yet. So he brings her to meet Parker and introduces her as a Polynesian, and the only woman on the island. So these people are not natives. Or, if they were, all the ladies left once they'd finally had enough of all these hairy wads of BO they were stuck with.
Pardon me if I seem to be too inquisitive.
I like to watch. Moreau gets called away while Parker continues to attempt small talk, and we soon know why.
What's that?
The house of pain.
Way to give up the secret within the first 5 minutes, yeesh. Parker runs out to investigate what is clearly torture, and finds a hairy man strapped to the table, with Moreau and Montgomery over him. Obviously, this body waxing is going badly. Parker's horrified that the pair would be vivisecting a human being, and concludes that the reason the natives look so hideous is because Moreau is turning them from man into monsters. So, best thing to do is to make a run for it, with Loda. A couple of the locals follow, and soon Parker leads them right into their village. Dumbass. I'm here to announce that Grilk has just made another sale to Jakarta.
What is the law?
Not to run on all fours. That is the law. Are we not men?
What is the law?
Stay off Grandma's nice furniture. That's what the plastic's for. In a surprising turn, Bela Lugosi is not a mad scientist. He's the sayer of the law. You might be scratching your head going, wait, wasn't this back when Lugosi was a big star because of Dracula? Well, turns out he'd agreed to play the role that he'd be synonymous with for a pittance, and he wound up getting typecast as a result. So even though this was only 2 years after Dracula came out, Lugosi, who'd turned down Frankenstein's monster, was now here wearing a beastman costume so he could get enough money to deal with his bankruptcy. They say that Bela Lugosi didn't swear like he does in the Ed Wood movie, but all I'm saying is he would have ample reason if he did. The beastmen are driven off when Moreau comes down to call Parker an idiot for running off into the jungle like that, when he was perfectly safe in the room across from a place called the House of Pain. What's the problem?
Take it.
A whip and a revolver. He's like a guy who couldn't decide if he's cosplaying as Indiana Jones or Colonel Sanders. If adventure has a name, it's Kentucky Smith. He takes them back to his house to explain what's the deal with the beastmen.
I took an orchid, and upon it I performed a miracle. I stripped 100,000 years of slow evolution from it, and I had no longer an orchid. What orchids will be 100,000 years from now.
Turns out it's still just a damn flower. Go figure. Anyway, after diddling Mother Nature for a while, he decided to try his hand with animals instead of plants. He got exposed, though, when a dog escaped from his lab, so he decided to get the duck out of Faj, picked up Montgomery before he could be locked up for his own particular fuck-up, and set out for this island.
With these, I have wiped out hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. From the lower animals, I have made...
And does this guy appreciate it? No, it's just painkillers this, and abomination that, and death would be a mercy. He's quite proud of himself, although there's some experiments that didn't quite work out. But not to worry, he's put them to use turning a turbine to provide electricity. Don't worry, it doesn't look as bad as you think. It looks so much worse.
Mr. Parker, do you know what it means to feel like God?
I managed to do it 4 times in one night once. Does that count?